Welcome to the November 19th Fisher City Council meeting. Appreciate everyone being here. Go ahead. We have no announcements. We'll have a proclamation. Pete will read.
We'll do that now? Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay, and you notice I'm obviously celebrating this Movember deal because my wife will not let me. So, City of Fisher's proclamation. Whereas the global charity Movember Foundation's vision is to have an everlasting impact on the face of men's health, and whereas the City of Fishers is committed to raising awareness about men's health issues and their effect on fathers, sons, brothers, uncles, and husbands across Fishers and the world, and whereas the City of Fishers encourages its residents to talk about their mental health and take the stigma-free Fishers pledge to commit to a stigma-free culture, and whereas a building a refuge seeks to assist men in Fishers in creating a community of support for those struggling with addiction, suicide, depression, anger, and anxiety, and will host its final Movember event December 1st. And whereas during this month, Movember encourages men to grow a mustache for 30 days to commit to move in an effort to promote and raise awareness of prostate cancer, testicular cancer, and mental health and suicide prevention. And whereas together we can start conversation about men's health, raise much needed funds for research and projects, and dedicate themselves to the appreciation of mustachery. Therefore, the mayor, Scott Fadness, City of Fishers, declares November 2018 as Movember month.
All right. Good job, Pete. Didn't do that. All right. Thank you very much. Moving on, Chief Gebhardt, you ready to present? You have a presentation of new officers?
So, 4 new officers for the Fishers Police Department, and what's pretty fascinating is this whole wall
Uh-huh.
These are all lateral hires. We'll start with Nick Smiley on the end. Officer Smiley came to us from Zionsville PD. Next is Pete Bimbo, comes to us from Muncie PD. Jay Settergreen, also known as John for the first day, Scottsdale, Arizona. And on the end here is Kevin Starkey, and we stole him from Anderson PD.
All right.
Gentlemen, please raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Kevin Kirkland,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and comply
that I will support and comply
with the Constitution of the United States of America,
with the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Indiana,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Indiana,
the laws and ordinances of the city of Fishers, Indiana,
the laws and ordinances of the city of Fishers, Indiana,
the rules and regulations of the Fishers Police Department,
the rules and regulations of the Fishers Police Department,
and the law enforcement code of ethics,
and the law enforcement code of ethics,
and that I will faithfully discharge these duties of my office
and that I will faithfully discharge these duties of my office
as a police officer to the best of my ability.
as a police officer to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, gentlemen.
Chief Gebhardt, if you get a second before you leave, perhaps you could share with the council maybe a quick update on Officer Dennis.
Yes.
I know many of them are concerned about his welfare, so.
Sure. So Officer Ben Dennis, the mayor and I were down to see Ben this afternoon. It's a good job. Congratulations, Doctor. Got it. It's the first time for me.
I got it.
Yeah.
That's great.
And all their families, too. Can we get applause for their
Yes.
family? Yeah.
Thank you.
So yeah, Ben Dennis, we were down there today, and today, Ben was probably the most active and communicative that I've probably seen him since the accident. He was at the rehabilitation center there, and they noticed and become aware of an infection in his right leg, and he had to be transported back to Methodist to be worked on. So they immediately went to work, and he's had multiple surgeries over the last week and a half to cure that infection out. As of today, Mary and Ben reported the infection is completely out, we need to make sure that it stays out because they can come back unannounced to us. But today, Ben was awake, he was communicating, he was talkative, he was engaging, he gave me lots of nice compliments in front of the mayor. It was nice, it was good to have. He hopes to get back to the rehab facility by the end of this week. Their rehab facility team's gonna come in and meet with the Methodist team to make sure everybody's up to speed on his care and most current care that they can provide for him. So as for right now, he's in the fight to get healthy, and today was a good day. So we'll take it, right?
Outstanding.
All right.
Yes.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. All right, moving on, Finance Committee report. Okay.
I was chair of the Finance Committee because Councilor Stoller had some other things going on, and we really talked about, really the only item that's on the agenda tonight is on the budget financial, item 111918A regarding the issuance of bonds for Fire Station number 91. We did unanimously recommend that for the council to consider for approval.
Anything else?
That's it.
Good. All right. Thank you, John. Appreciate it. All right, moving on to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Pete,
Second.
second by Eric. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
And Todd, real
Oh,
quick,
go
I
ahead,
will be
yes.
abstaining from the regular session, the November 5th item. Everything else I will vote for. I just was not here for that meeting.
Okay. Jane, did you get that?
Yes,
Okay,
November
all right.
5th.
November 5th, all right. And Rich. Anyone else? All right, sounds good. All right, moving on, rest of the agenda, R111918D.
Good evening. For the record, Megan Baumgartner, Assistant Director of Economic Development. Tonight, I have a project agreement for the City Council's review. It is a resolution approving the Hub and Spoke project agreement. So last week, we announced an incredible project with two great partners who are here tonight, David Decker and Travis Tucker, for an 85,000 square foot design center that is going to be another iteration of Fisher's dedication to entrepreneurship. This design center is going to have, oh, I realized, I'm sorry. Not prepared. I haven't done this before since we've done the new one. Man, it's been a while. I blame the baby. Okay. Thank you for whoever just did that, God. Oh my gosh, okay. 85,000 square foot design center with about an approximately $14 million investment. This design center is going to have co-working space, it will have a maker space. It'll focus a lot on the trade and home building industries, and we see this as a great opportunity for future workforce development in a really struggling area with those skilled trades. This is a partnership, again, with David Decker and Travis Tucker. Some initial tenants who will also be going in here are Battersby, Danielson, Asbell and Associates, Franklin Window and Door, AOCO, and On Point Real Estate Solutions. The City of Fishers is proposing in our project agreement a 10-year traditional real estate property tax abatement, so that goes 100, 90, 80, 70, et cetera. A waiver of city fees, which we estimate to be about $400,000, and then a master lease of office space and maker space that will go before the Redevelopment Commission for consideration in a couple of weeks. This is going to be located at the southeast corner of the Nickel Plate Trail on 106th Street on Edgeworth-Lasky's land. So again, creating more opportunities and vibrancy in that corridor with the new interchange, with the recently completed road work there. And then again, they're really excited to be right adjacent to the Nickel Plate Trail. So Travis and David, anything? Thank you for your partnership. Any questions for me about this project?
Any questions or comments from council?
Just a quick comment. I can't, even begin to I guess, appreciate for what you guys are bringing to the city. Again, launching off what the mayor started along with Launch Fishers and the IoT lab, continuing that vision as we continue to move through the evolution of Fishers to where, I don't even think we're partway there yet, but I think we're certainly on our way to a great place. When this was brought before council in executive session, I was really kind of blown away on what you guys have done. So I'm highly encouraged at what's going on, and certainly appreciate you guys choosing Fishers as a place to do it. With that, I'll make a motion to approve.
Actually, I was going to have a comment, if you don't mind, Pete.
Yep, go ahead.
Certainly appreciate your investment down in this corridor. I have my business, my CPA firm in Cross Point, and I will certainly be one of the first people to pull up the rail there when we get that trail put in, when we're able to get that approved. So I'm very excited and really appreciate your investment. So Pete made a motion?
Yeah, and I just can't think of a better project for this. I mean, I just can't think of something that would be better. So this is vibrant, what we talk about, right on the trail. This is going to bring validity to what the vision is right away. So outstanding. Any other questions or comments? Got a motion by Pete.
I'll second.
Second by John. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Moving on to R111918F.
This one is a resolution transferring real property to the City of Fishers Redevelopment Commission. So last November, the city put out an RFP for property on the north side of the amphitheater. One of those companies who received, or that we agreed to a project with, was Fishers Ellipse, also known as BW Development. Their 45,000 square foot building, they are moving forward with that. The project agreement, the council approved in May of 2018, and today is that final step of approving that transfer of the land to the Redevelopment Commission, which then transfers that land directly to Fishers Ellipse LLC. And just as a quick refresher of that, this Fishers Ellipse LLC is paying the city $15,000 for that transfer. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments?
Do you have an update on what you think the start date will be for this?
I believe in the next week or two. It's quick.
Very good.
Yes.
Yes.
And they've had, we're hoping that we can start announcing some of the great tenants that they've started signing there as well. So I think there'll be some really exciting developments.
Awesome.
I'll make a motion to approve.
A motion by Eric,
Second.
second by Rich. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I'll abstain.
I'm going to abstain.
So Pete and John abstain. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to 111918A.
For the record, Lisa Bradford, City Controller. The ordinance before you is authorizing the issuance of bonds to pay for capital improvements and incidental expenses related to Fire Station 91. As a refresher, Fire Station 91 is the headquarters right behind where we're sitting, and as we've discussed during budget season and other previous council meetings, the capital improvement need for these fire stations. So this bond will be a not-to-exceed amount of $9.5 million. If there are no questions, I'd ask we suspend the rules and have first, second, and third reading, and then I'll step aside for the public hearing. This is just for 91? This is just for 91. Last month, we did 93. We're going to do 93. Yeah. So, yeah, and we did 93
I'm going to
already.
go ahead and open up for public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak, step forward, state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. With no one stepping forward, I'll close the public hearing. Any questions or comments from council?
Motion to suspend.
Okay, motion by Pete to suspend the rules. Second by Cecilia. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay,
The motion to approve.
and motion by Pete. Second by Cecilia. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Moving on to 102218D.
Good evening. For the record, Ross Hillary, City of Fishers Planning Department. Before you tonight is an ordinance to approve the annexation of approximately 12.4 acres to be known as Ritchie Reserve. Council will see this coming before them for a rezone in the following months. With that, you did approve the fiscal plan for this annexation. This is the final reading of that. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments from council?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Pete, second by Rich. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Moving on to 102218E.
Before you tonight is an ordinance for annexation of approximately 1.67 acres, which will be part of a larger development that will be known as the Stations at Fishers District, which is directly directly east of the Fishers District. With that, you will see this come forward in January for PUD. Happy to answer any questions on this one as well.
Any comments or questions from council?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Pete,
Second.
second by Rich. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Moving on to 102218F.
The next ordinance before you is for the annexation of approximately 1.72 acres, known as the Worsler property, located on 126th Street. It is looking to be straight zoned after this action. Be happy to answer any questions on this one as well.
Any questions or comments from council?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Pete,
Second.
second by John. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to 111918C.
The next item before you is the request to approve a rezone of two properties known as the Worsler property. Again, address is 15040 and 15050 East 126th Street. The staff report is on your desk in front of you, as well as the proposed ordinance. This did go in front of Plan Commission with a 6-0 recommendation. The petitioner is also here to answer any additional questions. And short presentation.
Does a petitioner wish to speak? Who's this guy?
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the City Council. For the record, my name is Steve Harden. I'm a partner of the law firm of Faegre Baker Daniels and a proud resident here in the city of Fishers. I'm here this evening representing Gary Worsler on his petition before you. And as Ross said, this property is located at the intersection of 126th Street and Southeastern Parkway. Prior to going to the Plan Commission, we had a neighbors meeting. We had probably a dozen or so people, including Councilman DeReamer, who was kind enough to join us for that meeting. Following that meeting, we provided some additional information to the neighbors that attended, and we invited them, if they had any questions, to provide those to us. And we had one of the neighbors asked if there, we emailed everybody what the list of the uses were, and we said if there was anything that you had any issue with, just let us know, and I'm sure Gary Worsler would hope to try to be accommodating to those requests. And so if you saw at the back of your packet of materials, there is a written commitment that we provided, worked through that, advised that neighbor, and he was very appreciative that we were able to turn that around to him within a matter of days. We then came to the Plan Commission for public hearing. There was no remonstrance. We had a favorable staff report and a unanimous recommendation from the Plan Commission. This is also consistent with the comprehensive plan, and we would respectfully request your approval tonight. Happy to answer any questions that you have. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Steve. Any questions or comments from council? Motion by Pete. Second by Rich. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Thank you. Moving on to 111918D.
Good evening, Council. Lindsay Bennett, Assistant City Attorney. I'm here to request some changes to our Ordinance Violations Bureau. The Ordinance Violations Bureau was formed in 2000. It's something that we already have. The OVB, it's a creature of Indiana code. It allows the city to designate certain ordinances to be paid quickly, efficiently. It's really meant for kind of the smaller ordinances such as like parking, solicitation, things like that that have lower fines. As these ordinances have been amended throughout the years, they've kind of gotten a little convoluted, and the procedure for each ordinance is inconsistent across the board. So you may have a different procedure for parking that you would have for solicitation. So our goal here is really to make everything that's payable to the OVB consistent. So what we did here, we proposed a new procedure to allow 30 days from the time the ticket is issued to pay the fine. If it's not paid within 30 days, the fine would double. If it's not paid within 60 days of the date of issuance, then the OVB clerk lets us know so that we can file an enforcement action with the court. This would make it across the board for every single violation that's payable to the OVB. Once the person in violation gets a ticket, they have two choices. They can admit or they can deny. If they admit and pay, it goes away. If they deny, they go to court. So there's a couple of avenues for them to go to court. Either they can deny it, get their court date, or they can just not pay it and go to court. For the most part, I know this was a huge ordinance and there were a ton of changes, but by and large, it was all just to change the procedure to that I just described, with the 30 days, double after 30, 60 days, go to court. There were a couple of substantive changes, like in the parking and fire lanes. We changed it to the current fire department nomenclature, so it reflects fire chief instead of chief of fire prevention bureau. In one of the parking ordinances, we deleted a reference for an exemption for holidays and Sundays. We changed a requirement on the parking signs so that parking signs are only required for parking on streets if it's limited or prohibited. So just kind of clean up changes to these ordinances. One thing that we did add that I'm kind of excited about is a community service option for curfew tickets. Typically, you have a situation where a parent will call because their juvenile child has stayed out past curfew. The police will pick up the child, bring them back home, give them a ticket. They come into court, and then they get fined. And who pays the ticket? The parent. So in this situation, we can have the child actually perform community service to pay off that judgment. It's something that's allowed by Indiana code. So we thought that might be a more learning experience than having their parent pay the ticket. The last change that we made was in 3608, the schedule of fines, where all of these fines are found. Just like I said, over the years, as this has been amended, some have been left out, some of the references have changed, so we just put them all in there, made sure the references were correct. Nothing has increased. In fact, we decreased a couple of them from 500 to 250. But other than that, I know it was a lot of changes, but it was all basically to put this new procedure in place. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. We're also asking to hold first, second, and third reading tonight.
Is there any way that we can retroactive this so I can get my cash back and send both of my kids to community service?
I'm
That would be
sure
my
there are
question.
many parents out there that would enjoy that.
There's no other questions.
Well, hold on a second. Yeah, with regard to this, is there any sort of communication that needs to go out that of change of procedure? Is this just more procedural that is back house that really doesn't impact?
We don't really do any kind of, like public notification or change of procedure. It's really just for our officers.
Yeah.
We have put together a new OVB ticket, which reflects some of these changes. So it's a much more clear process for them when they're giving the ticket. Okay. It's a clear process for the clerk's office and for our office and for the judge too. So mainly it's just so anytime there's a ticket, everybody knows, hey, pay this in 30 days. If you don't, then it'll double. And then if you don't pay it at all, you're going to have to go to court.
Gotta get the word out.
There you go. But we do publish the fines as well. Anytime there's any change in the fines, even though it's not technically a new fine or a changed fine, because we've changed even the language in the fine, we're required to publish notice of that. So I will do that this week.
Okay, all right.
Chris, is there a public hearing requirement here? She talked
No.
about doing 3 readings. Is there a 3 readings requirement? Or is this just a single ordinance?
This is
that
an
we can
amendment
pass?
to an ordinance that we have outstanding, so we do need to suspend the rules and
Okay,
vote on it.
then I'll make a motion to suspend the rules and approve on first reading.
Pete to suspend the rules. Second by Rich. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Pete. Thank you, Rich. Second by Rich. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other unfinished business, new business? Nothing? All right, I'll go ahead and open up for public input opportunity. If you would like to, you can step forward, state your name and address for the record. You will have 3 minutes. You can share anything you want with regard to the city of Fishers. It does not have to be specific to this agenda, so I'll open that up at this time. With no one approaching the podium, I'll go ahead and close that time. And motion to adjourn. Second by Cecilia. Motion's passed. We're adjourned. Thank you.
Don't leave yet.
Yep.